come on inside. Taking that ride to nowhere. We'll take that ride. I'm feeling okay this morning. And you know, we're on the road to paradise. Here we go, here we go. There's a city in my mind. Come along and take that ride, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. And it's very far away, but it's growing day by day, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. Would you like to come along, and you can help me sing this song, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. There's a city in my mind. Come along and take that ride, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. And it's very far away, but it's growing day by day. It's alright, baby, it's alright. They could tell you what to do, but they'll make a fool of you, and it's alright, baby, it's alright.
Well, hello, party people!
How's it going? How's it going, everyone?
Fantastic! So, this week was kind of busy, and we couldn't do a show Monday because I was in DC. So we're like, why not just do a show Friday? Because we know y'all are going through withdrawal, and you're feeding for your dose of Postmortem Breakdown. So we're like, we can't disappoint and make them, hold off till Monday. So we figured, let's just do a little bonus episode. Well, thank you for tuning in. What's going on with you, Sir Andrew?
Oh, what's going on? It's been quite a week, a different kind of quite a week for me, but it's been quite a week. But I'm happy that it's Friday, and I've got a little IPA sip of sunshine right here, on a nice Friday night. It says keep cold and enjoy fresh. So it came out of the fridge. So I think I'm on the right track there. So yeah.
And yes, call me John. I see your comment. I know you are jonesing for me. You always are, you perv. Anyway. You dirty bud. So Andrew, white men go first. What's your topic tonight?
All right. Well, am I ready to go first? All right, let's do it. So, topic of my choice. So, I don't usually do this because I feel like sometimes when it comes to Twitter drama, it's best to just kind of leave it there and just focus on issues. But this, I think, struck me in a certain way because this is very much an issue, right? When we're talking about workers' rights and we're talking about how we go about talking about workers' rights, right? There's always going to be people who are going to be criticizing you as to how you go about doing it. And I do think this is a very hot topic. So Chris Smalls, as some of you may know, recently went on Tucker Carlson. And so I want to play the clip and talk about it because it really is a conversation to have. And so give me 1 second. I'm just going to share my screen. So for those of you who are just in case you need extra context, right? Amazon just recently unionized at Staten Island. I think that was like what, Joy? Like a week and a half ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah. They recently voted to unionize. They won by at least like 300. And Bezos actually is currently challenging the results in court. It'll be interesting to see what his case is. He's trying to say that like Amazon, or not Amazon, the workers were unfairly trying to get the results in their favor, which is hilarious because Amazon was holding like 11 anti-union meetings a day, firing workers, right? Like Amazon goes to the lowest of the low. And so, of course, now that Amazon has been unionized, Chris Smalls, first of all, and many of the other organizers are trying to unionize other Amazon facilities as well. There's one Amazon facility that's really close by. I think they say it's like across the street. I don't know how close to across the street it is, but we'll see. We'll see if it's possible. This might pick up like Starbucks. And so, without further ado, just wanted to give that extra context. I'm going to play this clip here. All right. Give me 1 second. Can you hear it?
No, you have to click on it.
Oh.
Workers at Amazon's Staten Island warehouse, and we're for that because they need the help. But at the last minute, Cindy Cortez bailed on the whole thing, and that infuriated labor organizers who just won a big vote to unionize the Staten Island facility. Now, Amazon is stepping up its effort to crush the union. Amazon has just banned words like union on its employee chat app. Christian Smalls is a union leader at Amazon, and we're happy to have him join us now. Christian, thanks so much for coming on. Were you surprised that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who has said repeatedly that she's on the side of the worker against the corporation, wasn't standing with you at the barricades?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just her. It was all of them pretty much. It's not
fair.
I don't want it to make it just between us and AOC because, a lot of them didn't show up. And, once again, we have no ill will against them. We know that whether they showed up or not, they didn't make or break our election. We just had to continue to organize.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird moment because, I'm on the right. I've never been particularly pro-union, but it does seem like Amazon needs some counterbalance. Like it's this huge company. The workers have no power, and maybe we could, share a little power with people who work there. So that's my view anyway. So tell us where you are in your organizing efforts.
Well, right now, we're fighting for a contract. Amazon's disputing the election results. So we're in walking and chewing bubble gum at the same time. We're fighting for a contract. We're preparing for another election in 2 weeks on April 25th. We're going to be voting at a second location directly across the building that we just unionized. So we're in the thick of a fight right now, a legal battle. And, we just have to stay grounded and pretty much begin our campaign all over again.
I mean, you'd think that Amazon would be open to a union, wouldn't you? It's a very progressive company. Why do you think they're trying to thwart you from organizing?
Amazon hasn't been unionized in this country since the beginning of its existence, and they're very anti-union. They created a system that hires and fires people. They created a system that they have full control of the working people, and having a union obviously brings representation for the workers that'll benefit the workers at the bottom, like myself, hourly associates, entry-level workers that don't get the right to negotiate. So forming a union gives us the right to collective bargain with the company, form a contract to protect ourselves. So that's exactly what we're trying to do with the Amazon Labor Union. We're hoping that we'll be a catalyst for something that'll take place nationwide.
Well, I certainly am rooting for you. I mean, maybe if they throw some more woke slogans at you, you'll forget you can't feed your family.
Right.
Christian, I appreciate your coming on. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
What? What the fuck did he just say?
Who?
Tucker Carlson. He's like, if they throw slogans at you.
Oh, yeah. He ends with saying like, he basically like talked about the woke slogans with corporations and such. Yeah. That was an interesting comment. But
Christian's face is just like,
yeah, I mean that's Tucker Carlson for you.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, I honestly have no So I honestly, when analyzing this and talking about this, at least from my angle, I have no interest in analyzing Tucker Carlson. I have no business in debating whether or not Tucker Carlson really cares or is rooting for these unionization. I more want to, at least from my end, what I brought this up is because a lot of people now are giving Chris Smalls a hard time for going on Tucker Carlson to talk about this, right? And so for me, I'm like, okay, first of all, Chris Smalls, I think, first of all, Fox News audience is not usually exposed to unions, right? They're not privy to unions. Nobody talks about unions. And the fact is that when you watch that, Chris Smalls literally just sticks to what they're doing. He says, this is our plan. This is how we're unionizing, right? This is how we're organizing. And Tucker at the beginning tried to even throw in AOC there. He called her Sandra Cortez for whatever reason.
Sandy. Yeah, that's Sandy. What they always call her.
I don't even know. Why do they call her Sandy?
They called her that in high school.
Okay. That makes sense. I didn't even know that. Interesting. So they call her that on Fox. How nice.
Yeah, I mean, like it's something bad. I don't fucking know. I think it's more like, I'm not going to, give you the respect of calling you your name kind of thing.
Right. Oh, yeah, that probably makes sense. So what I've seen when it comes to the people who are criticizing Chris Smalls for going on Fox News is, they bring up a screenshot of the screenshot that of the comment that we saw earlier about them talking about AOC not showing up, right? I don't know exactly what it said, but it was about AOC, right? Anybody who's bringing up that screenshot clearly did not watch the video because, first of all, Chris Smalls has no control over what Fox News puts on headlines, right? They could have said something like "fuckface Dan," right? And Chris Smalls would have not been able to do anything about that, even if he wasn't talking about a fuckface Dan, right? And so,
Penis Rocket.
Yeah, Penis Rocket. Okay, like again, wasn't so. This is, I think, part of the issue, though, and this is, I think, not just in leftist spaces, but everywhere. And this is what the internet has done. You take a screenshot and then you say, "Oh, look at what Chris Smalls is doing," right? When clearly you didn't see the full context. And I think the thing that people aren't even realizing is that Chris Smalls literally diverted it away from AOC. He basically said, "I don't care that politicians didn't come on here." Like, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, no one came. She didn't come. No one came. And you know what? We don't need them. This is what we did, right? The one thing I
literally said, it wasn't just her.
Yeah.
And we don't wish any ill will. And then changed it back.
Exactly. And so my issue is when people spend so much time and energy saying, "Oh my God, he went on Fox News. He legitimized Tucker Carlson." First of all, 4 million people have legitimized him. Okay. Chris Smalls is not going to make or break Tucker Carlson and how successful he is as a cable news host, whether we like it or not. It's just not going to happen. And so why not, people who watch Tucker Carlson, they're not all Jeff Bezos rich. Some of them happen to be workers, right? And so why not educate them if you can about unions, right? You're not going to take the bait from Tucker Carlson, right? This could have easily, if Chris Smalls just completely took the bait, they could have talked about AOC for 3 minutes, and that would have been very unproductive. But he chose to be like, no, I'm going to talk about unions and I'm going to educate everybody with that. And so for me, if you're going to fixate on that screenshot that like denigrates AOC for a second, doesn't even denigrate, just says she wasn't there or something like that. If you're going to focus on that, you're not serious about the issues. I'm sorry. You're not. And this is just a way that you are continuously holding people back. And, I think Barrett is saying, woke ain't paying my bills, a union would. And I think, first of all, at this point, woke has no meaning anymore, right? I think actual wokeness is good when it comes to being considerate of people and their identities and who they are. However, when you weaponize it, which is what has been happening, then it becomes an issue. And then that's when it says, okay, we are going to focus on weaponizing and which is what they're doing. They're exactly weaponizing it and keeping away the focus of unions, right? And I think the biggest thing is so many people are starting to say that Chris Smalls, they are criticizing Chris Smalls for going after AOC. I want to say Chris Smalls did not even go after AOC. Crystal Ball did, okay? And then he responded to what Crystal Ball was saying and confirmed, yeah, she wasn't there. She canceled. But that's it. And now since then, at least from what I've seen, Joy, I don't know about you, but since then, he has actually, whenever someone has brought up AOC, he said the same thing he said to Tucker. He said, it wasn't just her, it was others. And you know what? We don't need them. We got each other. We got unionized without them, right? What more can you ask for from a leader? He's doing what a leader should be doing, sticking to the issues and not letting these petty things distract him. I don't know.
Absolutely. And like, he literally in the first minute, he got Tucker Carlson to be like, you know, I'm far right and I don't usually support unions, but I think they deserve one. Like, when is Tucker Carlson ever going to say that? When would he say that if Christian didn't come on the show? Come on now. And, you know, if you have a problem with this, don't dare say the words class solidarity. Don't dare say no war but class war, because what you're really saying is I'm gatekeeping for workers. What you're saying is the millions of workers that watch Fox News, they don't matter. They all need to learn about organizing. They all need to learn about unions. You think people in Amazon don't watch Fox News? They need to know what's going on. People need to know that they have the ability to do this and learn from this. This is why we cannot get our shit together, because we want to be exclusive. We want to gatekeep everything. The fact of the matter is, if you support unions, that is a topic. That is an issue. Nothing else. Everything else is moot. What else matters? You're going on there, you're talking about unions, you're talking to millions of people who work, and I mean, it just makes no sense. You're going at, first of all, a black man who has made history, who has worked his ass off. I met him in August in New York. He has worked his ass off for over a year, going across the country trying to get Amazon's unionized. This is a man who got fired and could have just collected unemployment and sat there, but no, he busted his ass for over a year trying to make this happen. And who's hating on him for going on Fox News? Those racist Republicans you keep talking about? No, it's the so-called leftists.
Yes.
That group's coming down on him. That's what pisses me the fuck off. Yeah, Fox News, hell yeah, there's racists. Hell yeah, there's like Trumpers and all those people. Hell yeah, but guess what? There's a lot of people that watch MSNBC who are hella fucking racist too.
Oh, hell yeah.
You can't choose you can't choose who you talk to. Remember when Bernard went on Fox News and talked about Medicare for all and got 3 standing ovations? When you say 78% of Americans want Medicare for all, you don't say 78% of Democrats. You say 78% of Americans. And why is that? Because people like Bernard were like, yeah, I'll go on Fox News. We're talking about the issues. These issues affect everyone. Well, you think people who watch Fox News don't work in places like Amazon and Starbucks? Of course they fucking do. So, no, you don't get to say class solidarity and then put Christian down. You don't get to. You're a fucking hypocrite. What he did was brave as fuck. He held his own. He kept it professional. He never said a damn word about AOC or anyone else, and passing around screenshots because you can't watch a 3-minute clip.
It's pathetic.
Pathetic. And it's bullshit. And don't be like, oh, we need to stick it to Bezos. Bezos is such a piece of shit. He exploits workers. How about like this? No, not like that. No, not like that. How the fuck far do you think we're going to get with, yeah, let's unionize, but y'all stay over there?
Yeah.
How are we going to accomplish something?
No, we're not. We're not. And I think so.
Do you expect them to look at people's voter registration cards when they, go into Amazon to see if you should tell them to unionize with you?
Yeah, just imagine when you're handing out cards to advertise the fact that they should unionize in the workplace. You first ask them, wait, hold on. How do you vote? How do you do? What is your thoughts on this? Oh, okay, cool. Oh, no, sorry. I don't want you joining. Vote no on the union, please. Like, what? Doesn't make any sense. And I think one other thing too, that, we talk all the time about how corporate media has a good amount of people captured, right? People are brainwashed by corporate media. And I think in this case, Chris Smalls can actually use this to his, Chris Smalls can use this to his advantage, because if Tucker Carlson is saying, I'm a right winger and usually I'm not for union, but this kind of makes sense, right? I don't give a shit for Tucker Carlson's reasoning, right? Honestly, he probably is against Amazon because Jeff Bezos is a Democrat. And you know what? I don't care, because if you're against Amazon and willing to undermine Jeff Bezos' power, then I'm looking more at the result. I don't care much at the intent, as if the result is going to line up with the result that I want, which is Jeff Bezos go down, right? That's kind of where I am with that. And so when the results are different, then that's when we fight, right? And so, but I think with this case, it's like Chris Smalls, Tucker Carlson's literally saying I'm pro union in this case. You know how many people watching Tucker Carlson that take his word like the Bible are going to be like, oh, okay, solidarity to unionize, right? It's going to make a huge difference, and the pendulum is going to swing in that way, right? So I am not saying that Tucker Carlson should at all be an ally in this. However, he didn't get in the way. He got less in the way than some people who are claiming they're leftists. And I think that's something that you're going to have to reflect on yourself to see how you are more obnoxious than Tucker Carlson in this instance.
How about that?
Yeah, props to you. That's a hard feat.
So many of these so-called leftists do the same shit we were complaining about Hillary people doing in 2016. They do the same fucking things. They're spreading a screenshot. You didn't even listen to what the man said. Right. Holy shit. Right. And you know what? Like, straight up, yeah, it wasn't just her, but I will say it was her fucking district. It was her who said a few months ago, I'm thinking about leaving politics so I can go back to being an activist. Okay, she's the one claiming she's an activist and she's for the people and she wants to unionize and all this bullshit. So, yeah, fuck her. Like, Chris is too nice to say it. I'm gonna fucking say it. Fuck her. She's a fucking hypocrite. And this fragility, like, oh my God, talk about AOC. They talk about AOC 24/7 on Fox News. You think they fucking care? You think one person coming on about, mentioning AOC's name is gonna like change something? Like, give me a fucking break. They already hate her. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And all Chris did was speak truth. He didn't say anything, slanderous, nothing. Did she show up? No.
Honestly, too, and notice too, like you were just saying, Joy, it was 3 minutes long, right? Now, I don't know. It's hard to say because corporate media is notorious for jam-packing so many things within a short amount of time, and so they're in a rush, so they interview people for like 2 minutes and you're out. However, I do kind of think that if Chris Smalls did take the bait, he probably would have been on there longer, right? But because he didn't and he's stuck with the issues, corporate media is usually like, oh, you're actually talking about like specific things and not hot gossip, right? All right, it's time for you to go, right? And so, but I think that's another thing to kind of notice is that it was extremely short. And the one criticism, well, I guess not really criticism, but the one thing I wish Chris Smalls maybe would have said, and it's probably not his fault because the time was very much, like that, is when Tucker Carlson said that Amazon is a progressive company. He did kind of nod like no, but I do wish he kind of said progressive in what way? Because starving your workers is not progressive. It's not in progressive values, right? So they may signal to cultural values in terms of saying that the claim that they care about LGBTQ plus issues, they really don't care. But they don't actually care economically.
They sell shirts with a rainbow flag on them. That makes them progressive.
So that's the one thing, because I think if we're going to be really technical, right?
I think that probably caught him off guard because my mouth dropped.
Right.
When you said that. Like, I don't even think he had a moment to like be like, wait, what?
Right. With progressive or the last thing that he said?
No, progressive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. It's just, and that's, I mean, and that's Fox News propaganda, right? They completely, well, and liberals do this too, but they completely co-opt the term progressive and make you think that, oh, progressive means we're just going to virtue signal and not actually do anything for you economically, when in fact, no, that's what liberals do. Progressives actually care about economic issues and they care about social issues because they actually realize it's intertwined. But now we got, people like Chantel Brown calling themselves progressive, who's bought off by every single PAC in the book. So now that word means nothing and we have to use other words.
Interestingly enough, though, she just signed on to Medicare for All.
Of course she did, because she realizes it's not going to pass. But
well, Bernard's reintroducing it next month. So we need everyone we can have. And the fact of the matter is,
we'll see if she follows through.
She signed on after she was elected. So I'm not giving her credit, but I'm going to say I'm glad.
Well, didn't she said she was for Medicare for All slightly before Nina decided to challenge her, right?
No.
She said way before?
No, I've never seen her say anything about anything other than ACA, and she had Obama's endorsement.
Chantel Brown had Obama's endorsement?
Oh, I thought she sure did.
I thought she's had Hillary Clinton's endorsement. I didn't think Obama explicitly endorsed her. I knew high level officials like Clyburn and who's that Ohio representative?
No, Obama did too, because they were not gonna have Nina.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, they didn't want to have Nina, but yeah. So there's that. I mean, I think sticking to the issues and I mean, I think we were talking about this at a previous episode, how Amazon is doing a pilot program to ban words in their apps like union, the word fire, the word exploitation, or maybe not exploitation. I think slave labor. And it was funny how, at least in the context that I saw, Tucker kind of alluded to that a little bit. Didn't talk about too much of it, but yeah. And I think that kind of brings back, I don't want to exhaust this topic too much. I think it's always good that we have a conversation of what is the difference between going on a conservative show and letting them spin the narrative on you versus what you going on and you being in control of what the narrative is, right? So we talk about someone like Tulsi, right, who goes on a lot of conservative voices. She's not doing what Chris Smalls does. She is giving into their narrative and then saying, "You're right. This is it. This is an issue, right?" She's letting them take control, and that's what the problem is, right? It's people might try and say, "Oh, she's talking to people who don't agree with her." Sure, but you have to be very specific with how you do it, because you do not want, the goal is for people to get a different perspective from what they are mouth fed every single day. And if you are giving into the perspective that is already dominant on that show, then you're doing nothing, right? And so that's, I think, something I think is definitely worth. I honestly think that's probably something that's worth at some point doing an episode on, at some point analyzing how different people doing and what, because it's something that we're clearly not clear on. And certain people think, oh, if I just screenshot something, I'm telling the whole story. And if you're a leftist and you're doing that, you lack extreme critical thinking skills. You think like a liberal, and get out of the way, because all you're doing is sabotaging worker-led movements. So you can just, eat pound sand.
Absolutely. And, this afternoon I was on Comrade Misty's radio show. You can check it out. And we talked a lot about this, how I don't even call myself a leftist. I haven't in at least probably 2-3 months. I mean, I don't want, I hate labels, first of all, but these, I don't want to be in a category with these people who complain about MSM and then they can't even watch a 3-minute video before trying to take down a dude who is busting his ass for them.
Right.
It's pathetic. It's so sad. I stand with Chris. I love you, Chris.
Absolutely. He's doing much more. He's doing so much more work than everyone in Congress when it comes to the actual change that is affecting people's lives. So props to Chris. Keep going. And don't listen to the haters, because they got nothing. And
Oh, and also for people who are curious, Logan, our other co-host, they do support Chris going on Tucker Carlson. They did make some posts about it, and they fully support it as well.
And Logan is, well, just like all of us, Logan is no fan of Tucker Carlson. So yeah. I'm done. And again, I don't usually kind of go into these topics, but this had me fired up, so I went into it, and here we are. So, Joy, you had quite a few days doing a lot of things, and so
I did a lot of things.
You did a lot of things.
Okay, perv.
You went there too.
I didn't until after I said it, and then I'm
really.
Like, good
All
God,
right, well,
so good.
Let's talk about what you did.
Who I did? No. Okay, see, now you got me started. Okay, so Sunday and Monday, I was in DC. Sunday, both for Julian Assange events. Sunday, I went to a stand-up for Julian Assange event, and I was Marianne Williamson's +1, and Lee Camp, Katie Halper, John F. O'Donnell. I mean, just tons of people were there. And comedy, and then we all hung out and had drinks and stuff after. It was so much fun, and it was so amazing. And then the next day, Monday, we had 2 Assange protests. The first one, we were at the British Embassy in DC, and we were standing outside of it. We were speaking in a megaphone and just telling them to do not extradite Julian. And lots of powerful speakers. I was coerced into speaking twice that day, one at each location. but it was emotional, and it was, the thing that got me emotional is I started talking about how, he just got married and he can't even be with his kids and his wife right now. And he's facing coming to the US, and we know damn right well he's not going to get a fair trial. I mean, that's like impossible. It's not going to happen. And, dude's a fucking hero, and he's being persecuted when in fact all he did was publish something. There's so many people who are so uneducated about why he's in Belmarsh. And one of the things that was a typical, oh, okay, well, I'll get to that after. So the first one was at the British Embassy, and we were there for 2 hours, and then we went to the District of Justice, so Injustice, and we stood outside the DOJ with a microphone and amps, and first they had a couple musicians play political songs. They were wonderful. And then we had other speakers there as well. Journalist Dan Cohen joined. That was amazing. And we just had some great speakers and some really heartfelt, messages and a lot of support. Andrew, if you want to play that video clip, it's kind of like a montage by my darling friend Ford Fisher, who I finally got to meet in person. We've done a show together.
Free Assange! Free Assange! Free Assange! Free Assange! Awesome.
So it's 3 years today since Julian Assange was illegally dragged out of the Ecuadorian embassy in London. And we all have those images seared into our consciousness, seared into our minds. We remember his face and what he said. He said, keep fighting, right? We have to keep resisting. And that's what we're doing here today.
I'm an anti-imperialist, and it's because of inspirations like Julian, and he deserves to be here with his family. He deserves to be free because journalism isn't a crime. War crimes are a crime. And the truth is the beginning to fighting war. Thank you very much.
At this point, a lot of us have really lost that bit of hope, and we're just waiting for this next shoe to drop, for them to finally say that Julian Assange is indeed getting extradited to the United States. And when that happens, we have to be prepared. We can't wait for somebody to organize something. We have to have a plan in place because honestly, it looks like that is the way it's going to go. And we can't wait weeks until after he gets here for us to say something. Once he's here, that is the time to act. That is the time to get it in people's faces. And even like while these court hearings are, while we're waiting for it, now it's a good time to remind people what it is that we're fighting for. What did Julian Assange expose to us? What's your favorite leaks?
We live in a fascistic state. And of course, a fascistic state is going to go after somebody who is telling the truth. Nothing WikiLeaks has ever revealed has not been true. Everything has been true. Not one lie has ever been told. Julian Assange does nothing but tell the truth. And in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Julian Assange is a revolutionary. And so is every one of us here for supporting him and speaking out against this corporate state, against all odds, fighting this uphill battle against totalitarianism, against authoritarianism, against fascism. And Julian Assange is a hero, straight up. That's it. It's that simple.
In any country with like even a semblance of a justice system, the Department of Justice would have already dropped this case because they'd be so embarrassed by the fact that their star witness is not only a convicted sex offender, diagnosed sociopath, but also recanted his testimony. Okay, that's a big deal. That should be a big deal. The Department of Justice should be running away from this case. Also remind people this has nothing to do with Trump or Hillary Clinton. His alleged crimes, which is just revealing the truth, have to do with things from the wars, the Iraq War. It has to do with collateral murder.
There's so many ways to contribute. And if you see someone raising money to go protest for Julian, to, do anything like that, at the very least, share the link. At the very least, it helps. Also, there's going to be a whole lot of us needing help to go to Virginia coming up. So we want to make sure we have everyone's back, and just to continue this camaraderie that we have in supporting everyone and making sure that as many voices as possible have a chance to get heard.
Julian is a true hero of all working people, all anti-fascist people, all people that stand against U.S. and Western imperialism in the world. They want Julian. They say he committed a crime, just the way they locked up Chelsea. Just the way they locked up, I don't remember his name, but he's in Alexandria, Virginia jail with Chelsea. We were there a couple of years ago to demand his release also. This has been a ploy of the U.S. government to lie and bring charges against those that expose the truth. This is why they keep Mumia Abu-Jamal locked up. This is why they keep Leonard Peltier locked up. This is why they keep so many Native American warriors who have fought for the rights of Native American lands locked up, because they expose the truth of the U.S. government and the collusion of these multinational corporations.
There's only one decision.
No extradition. So that was only some of us. It was like impromptu that we went over and did that, but you could see even that was a good turnout. As far as context for my clip in this, I talked about Assange a little. It's just a clip, but the first speech I gave was very much so about Assange directly, but this clip, this second speech I gave, it was impromptu. And someone said, the fact that there aren't more people here is pathetic. And I understand that. And it's hard not to get discouraged when you're like, this is about free speech and freedom of the press. Like, why aren't there thousands? But I have to look at it from the perspective of a broke-ass person and think, do you know how many times there have been actions I have not been able to afford train tickets to get to? Do you know how many times, my disability has gotten in the way of being able to travel? There are circumstances. There are people who work full time and cannot afford to take off on a Monday to go to a protest in DC. There are people across the country. There are people in other countries. So I think while I understand the point, I wanted to make it clear that, I had a couple of people donate the money to get my train tickets to get there to DC. I couldn't have been there without them. And I know that I was one of the people who came, and there were tons of people there who did crowdfunding. We had people from Washington State, California and shit. They crowdfund. That's how they get here. That's what activists do. None of us have the fucking money to do this shit. So I just want people to realize that, yes, it can get discouraging when you're like, why aren't there thousands and thousands more? But at the same time, we do have to put it in perspective that not everybody has the means. Not everybody has the ability to just drop everything and go out of state, no matter how much they want to. So that's why I was saying, share the posts. No, you can't be there. I understand. share videos like those, share the posts that are promoting those events are coming up. This is also activism. Activism is organizing, and we have to use social media as a tool, and it can be a real ugly animal, but at the same time, how many people would have showed up if we didn't have Twitter? What, like none? So we have to utilize what we do have. So when you see things like mutual aid, when you see things like actions coming up, smash that share button. If one person comes because they saw that post, it's fucking worth it. We need numbers. And look, it's about a 99.9% chance Julian's coming to Virginia. And a lot of us are going to be asking for comrades to help chip in. Because I know I'm fucking going to Virginia. Like, even if it's for a weekend. I need to. Like, it's in my bones. I have to. So I'm going to be one of many who are going to be, needing help. I do what I can, but, I'm a disabled activist who's broke as fuck, like, and I'm one of many. So it's so important that even if you cannot, financially support people, that you share things. Also, I was telling people, even if you have to work that day and you can't go to the event, make signs. Make a stack of signs. People are always saying, do you have extra poster board and stuff? Make a stack of signs. Go to the dollar store, get a pack of generic Sharpies, poster board, drop them off. Bring a case of water, drop it off, hand it to someone else to drop off. You can contribute in so many ways. Offer to send out emails to promote. I mean, do anything in the world. These actions only happen with groups. We can't do this shit on our own. So shout out to the organizers of the past Sunday and Monday. You guys did an awesome job. It was amazing. I laughed, I cried. It's always amazing to be with comrades from online, and then you get to meet them in real life. So that was great as well. And so yeah, I mean, we need to free Julian, and if we can, at least the thought of him being extradited, which is likely going to happen, is very fucking terrifying. And it's going to set a horrible precedent for any of us. Andrew, what would you like to add?
Yeah, I mean, so.
Oh wait, what's this say?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go off this comment a little bit because I think this really did strike a chord with me, and then I have other things I'd like to add. So MNNW said, I think a lot of us have showed up to protest with good intentions for the wrong people. So when something good comes along, we put our guard up. Then there was Bernie, LOL. Okay, so I think I definitely resonate with this, and I want to add something else in the fact that, think about, and this goes back to what the corporate media, right? They're purposely not talking about Julian Assange, right? Hardly anyone is talking about Julian Assange. There's no coincidence that it's the people who are only really in tune with independent media, who go against or counterbalance to the mainstream media, are the ones who know the most about Julian Assange, right? And so I think part of it is lack of knowledge, right? Because if you were to even just straight up say to a majority of people all across political ideology, do you believe that he deserves what is happening to him when he exposed war crimes, when he exposed civilians getting killed, and complete violations, right? Most people, especially when they see the videos that were posted, they'll be like, wait, this person is being locked up? What? No, right? So, and this is why they suppress these things, because if this was front center news, there would have been a lot more other people there. I also want to bring up, and this is, I think, a perfect example of how different issues really actually collide in many ways without us, when you think about it, is that when it comes to we were talking about in the last segment, unions, right? Part of what unions do is, yes, of course, they increase pay. They also advocate for more benefits for you so that you actually have days you could take off on short notice to take care of business, right? Business is a wider range of things, but if that is actually attending a protest that means a lot to you, you could do that, right? And so that gets down to the fact where a lot of people don't have those benefits, so they can't just go and do those things, right? And so imagine if people had those benefits, how many more people could show up. So I think some of it is a little bit of discouragement, but it's also just the capitalistic system that we live in, right? That is not made for this, and it's on purpose, right? A knowledgeable metropolis, a knowledgeable group of people is not friendly to people in power when we see what they're doing, right? All it does is, the facts are on our side, right? It doesn't take much to radicalize people. And I think one question I have for you is, Joy, for someone who was there, right? And I think it's great. I think it's great that people, I saw a lot of familiar faces who were giving speeches, right? It's great to see people come together in support of Assange. Even people who maybe don't necessarily see eye to eye on every single issue came together because they were all behind Assange. And the whole point of you doing this, I'm sure, is to spread awareness to people, right? Is to spread awareness to people in DC. So from your experience, whether it was you or you witnessed other people potentially educating certain people or seeing people kind of stop by and being like, what's going on there? Like, how did that go? Because that's something I'm really interested in terms of how much awareness you spread to people who maybe weren't necessarily in tune to what you were seeing.
Being in DC and being, standing at the European embassy, there was a point where, or British embassy, there was a point when we were standing on the corner right out front, in front of they have a big Union Jack flag made out of flowers. And we were standing there on the corner and we were just sign waving, beep, 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 beep. So many people were in solidarity with us. It was fucking beautiful. Like, so many people were honking, and it was so amazing and so encouraging. And people just driving by with their windows down, free Assange, free Assange. It was so awesome. And, we had a lot of that. We had a lot of support. The next location we went to, the Department of Justice, which, should be DOI. This guy was walking by and he goes, "Fuck Julian Assange, he's a fucking traitor." And I'm like, traitor to who? Australia? Like, he's not American, you fucking idiot. Like, people literally think he's American. And they're like, he's a traitor. A traitor to what? A traitor to imperialism? Yes, that's a good thing.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, at best, this person was ill-informed. At worst, and at worst, this person was extremely imperialist to the point where he believes that everyone in the world should bow down to what America does because we're the only, according to American exceptionalism, we are the best at democracy, we're the best at freedom, although there are absolutely no data and statistics and numbers that support that. In fact, I dare anybody who is skeptical to go into the numbers, and once you find facts, again, all it took was for me to find like historical facts, historical numbers to be like, wait, what people are telling me versus what is reality? There's a big disconnect. So
yeah, I think, one of the things that, I really, really, that stuck with me was, you know, one of the times when I was doing a show with Marianne, you know, she said, you know the Panama Papers, right? Well, you know, New York Times and WAPO published parts of those. Now, those were classified documents. So Julian being in Belmarsh is very much so like New York Times and WAPO should be in Belmarsh, because all they did was publish it. Julian didn't hack anything. He didn't make anything up. He didn't lie about anything. He literally just printed it. That's it. That's all he did. He took information that was given to him and he published it.
What sources actually do that? Like, can you think of another source that literally does that? Like, and don't tell me AP. That's so other, but like,
who?
Yeah, the AP or whatever. You know, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, literally every single, like, we have an agenda. Everyone has an agenda. Like, let's just, but it's literally just like showing you objective things that are happening. And apparently that's an issue.
But I mean, what is more scary to the government than a journalist publication with 100% accuracy for over a decade? There is no such thing in existence except for WikiLeaks. That terrifies them. Holy shit, what are they going to find next? Well, I hate to break it to you, but Julian may be, you know, the person you think of as the head of WikiLeaks, but WikiLeaks are still coming out now. You could still follow them and you can still see shit. So, you know, if they think, you know, doing this to him is going to stop WikiLeaks entirely, they are mistaken. All they're doing is pissing us off even more. That's all that's happening.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. And I think, you know, I'm not going to say this person's name out loud, even though they are fairly present and such amongst these spaces. But I think I remember seeing a tweet of one person saying, I'm just so happy that I was able to come to an event and make an impact, in addition to just tweeting on here and doing these things, right? And I think, and that was just a great thing to see, because I think there are a lot of people who want to make a difference, but don't necessarily know how. And there are, of course, shit posters on Twitter that have no intention of making a difference. And I think there are a lot of people who post on Twitter and post things and do it out of anxiety, because they are trying to figure out a way to get their voice out there to make a difference. And so it did seem, at least from the outside, that this was an event that provided, in a sense, closure to a lot of people, where it's like, okay, this is how I can translate my passion online to on the ground. And now it's like, okay, now I have the bug. Where can I go next in order to really talk to people in real life and educate and really get people thinking and wheels turning in terms of identifying the core issues with what's happening in this country.
So. Absolutely. And, you know, what you said earlier about, you know, there were people there, not everyone agrees with everyone. There were several people there who I've gotten into, like, Twitter, like, but I don't fucking care. We're there for Julian. We're there for the same fucking reason. All that shit, you squash that shit. You go there, you support each other, you hug each other, you tell each other thank you. You're there, you're in solidarity, and it felt so fucking good to be good with those people now and to stand with them now and to, you know, fight for the same exact thing. Like, that's what this shit's about. Like, we were there. A bunch of us went to lunch for a couple hours. There were like 8 of us. I knew 1 out of the 8 people. And all we talked about was Assange and whistleblowers and journalism. It didn't matter if I disagreed with them on other stuff. It didn't matter. Who cares? We didn't even talk about other shit. So I think, you know, the so-called left, one thing that they've done is they have veered so far away from issues.
Yes.
And focus so much on shiny objects. And when you stick to actual issues, you find that you have so much more in common with people you think you don't like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in a weird way, and this was not something I anticipated before this show started, but in a weird way, this really connects to what we were talking about previously with Smalls and Tucker, right? Where it's, again, if there's an issue and you both are willing to fight for it and get the same result, you know, in that way, people always like to say, oh, leftists like to do purity tests when it comes to electoral politics, right? We also need to also think about when to do our purity test when it comes to if I agree with you and we disagree on something else that's completely different, that's not going to affect what we're fighting for, then we're going to fight side by side, right? We don't need to be best friends, but we're going to do it side by side, and we're going to forget. We're not going to bring up the past drama. If we had a fight on Twitter, we're not going to bring that up while we're fighting for Assange, because what that issue is much bigger than what's going on between me and you personally. And that's what we need to think about. So
absolutely. Yeah. And that's how you know when you're about the issues. If you can truly just squash it, like none of that shit means anything now. These people that I was like this, you know, next thing you know, we're hugging multiple times. Now we're following each other on Twitter. Now we're DMing. Like, we have so much more in common that we realized when we were like, yo, I hate you. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't say that, but it was like, you know, and we could have been comrades the whole time, but we, you know, we disagreed, and we, you know, and I think more people need to do that. They need to just realize we agree on national Medicare for all. Let's work together. We agree on Assange. Let's work together. Like, and I'm not saying there's not exceptions. I'm not saying you got to go work with racists or anything. I'm just saying, like, you know, you don't have to agree on every single thing. If you are going to a protest or a rally about a specific cause, and you all agree and support that cause, there is strength in numbers. That's what it comes down to. You cannot afford to be like, no, we don't want you. We don't want you. Well, we'll put you in the maybe pile. You can't afford to fucking do that.
Yeah. No, for sure. Because let's face it, oligarchs who on face value vote for different presidential candidates and such, they go on golf trips together. Like, they don't really, when it actually goes behind the scenes, so, you know, I'm not saying be buddy with someone who, you know, is extreme politically different than you, but like, don't go around asking people at a protest, who did you vote for? What are your thoughts on electoral politics? What do you support this and this and this? That has nothing to do with that, but, you know, like, you just don't do that. So
absolutely.
Yeah. If they're being problematic, if they're showing up with like a swastika, then of course, like, get them the fuck out. But, you know, if they're not showing up with any gear that like makes you think that they might not be on, then, like, you know, don't push it. Don't question. Like, don't fucking do that.
And like, sometimes, like, it is legit easier to talk to a Republican than it is to talk to a shitlib. Let's keep it real. No, seriously.
At times, it's a different type of, Republicans
are very, you know, it's very interesting. A lot of them just aren't talked to about certain things. And when you talk to them, they're like, really? Like, you know, I went to Iowa for 5 weeks to volunteer for Bernie in 2020 for a presidential campaign. I cannot tell you how many Republicans I knocked on their door and they're like, Bernie's my second choice. And I'm like, really? Why is that? And they would be like, well, because he talks about workers. He talks about healthcare. And when you look at it from the issues perspective, there's so much more in common than shit libs who just vote blue, vote blue, vote blue, vote blue. They ain't trying to listen to you.
No.
Republicans, sometimes you can have a discussion with. There's discourse. Shit libs, no. It's identity politics. It's vote blue. End of story. Fall in line. Fuck you. You're sexist. You're racist. You're whatever if you don't obey me. End of story. And, you know, at least with Republicans, you have some hope that maybe they'll fucking listen to you.
Yeah. MNNW said, and I think I bumped into Alex Jones at Occupy the Fed, LOL. That must have been an experience. Yeah, that's I don't know what I would have done if I bumped into Alex Jones. Speaking of, yeah, grifter, but yeah. I'll just leave it at that. Yes, they don't get anything done, Trish T. Shit libs get nothing done. Yeah, of course. They don't. They don't at all. Yeah, so Kami John says shit libs are the worst because they're trash but think they're the adults in the room. But yeah, and I will say, and this is something, you know, like I will say they can be the most condescending people in the world. Like
insufferable.
Conservatives have their own issues, right? They're bigoted at many times, right? They are completely ignorant. They say things that are just like, where the hell did you get that information from? But like, they're not nearly as much condescending, right? Libs, it's like they sometimes do those things and it's like they think they know everything and it's like, are you kidding me? Like, like you're not even about any issues here. You're just trying to prove that you're smarter than people. So yeah, I definitely can resonate with that.
Well, it was funny when I was trying to find a place for us to do our book signing. And I would reach out to bookstores and libraries, and I'd say, you know, I co-wrote a political parody book, and they would all assume Republican. No, it's a resistance parody. And then I wouldn't hear back. But like, I don't need to write about Republicans. Like, we all know how we feel about them. Like, they're parodying themselves. I need to write about the Democrats because that's the only way I'm going to keep someone sane, is by pointing out the flaws in the people who harass us every day. Republicans practically never come on my Twitter. Practically never.
And part of that is the algorithm. They probably, you know, they're in their own spaces, but yeah.
It could be, but man, shit libs just... That's why I'm like 24,000 followers on Twitter and I interact with the same couple hundred. I know I have a lot of fucking haters. I know I do. There's probably screenshots galore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. Sorry, trying to get away from the glint light that's in the background. Sorry, I'm not in my usual space for this show. But yeah, so anything else we want to say about this, or should we go on to the next segment?
Let's go to the next segment, baby.
Let's go to the next segment. So this is something, and actually, if any of you watch The People's Voice, I do a segment on this as well. But I don't know. I felt like it was just necessary to revisit this a little bit because, first off, you know, on another channel to spread awareness. And, you know, this is about the Boston Marathon.
And you're in Boston, so it's partly your fault.
It's partly my fault. And it's coming up this Monday. And I'm also, you know, I'm a runner myself. So the Boston Marathon is something that I love to watch and sort of enjoy for the day. And I'm very, very disappointed by what I feel is just a bigoted move that bigoted move that one of the most elite running clubs in Boston, if not the most elite, is doing. So I'm gonna just show you this video, and we're gonna go from there. Give me 1 second. Stop. Sorry, it's playing on my end, and I keep saying it shouldn't. All right, here we go. All right, so let's just. I might stop this a couple times just to give my commentary.
The Boston Athletic Association now says runners from Russia and Belarus are banned from this year's Boston Marathon. As your exclusive Boston Marathon station, we were the first to bring you this story on our streaming service, CBS News Boston. It is the first time in marathon history that the BAA has taken a political stand and banned runners. WBZ's Zania Maldonado is live at the finish line in Boston with the breaking details. And Zania, we should be clear, this applies to runners who live in Russia and Belarus right now.
Lisa, that is correct. Now, this announcement not only affecting the...
Because that makes it so much better. It's just people who live in Russia and Belarus, not people who are, living in the United States. We're not that bad.
Russian community, but also the Ukrainian community, as some Ukrainians have been calling on the Boston Athletic Association to ban Russian citizens from running in this year's marathon.
We're trying to show support for Ukraine. This is not supposed to be seen as a punishment for Russian and Belarusians.
On April 8th.
Oh, okay. Don't see it as I don't know how else you can take it, but don't see it as a punishment.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Excluding someone.
Yeah.
That's solidarity.
Don't see it as hate. We just don't want you here.
We don't want your kind.
Like imagine if you're having a party and you just straight up say to someone, "Don't take this the wrong way. I have nothing against you. I just don't want you at my house."
Yeah, exactly.
We're cool. I just don't want you there. That's all.
Yeah.
18th, Maxim Siegel will be running his second Boston Marathon, but his heart will be half a world away with his native country of Ukraine.
As we've seen, the atrocities that have been happening, the war crimes being committed, it's just absolutely atrocious. And we don't understand how Russian or Belarusian athletes could compete and represent their country's pride.
This afternoon, the BAA announced Russians and Belarusians accepted in the 2022 Boston Marathon or 5K and are currently residing in either country will no longer be allowed to compete. The organization saying, like so many around the world, we are horrified and outraged by what we have seen and learned from the reporting in Ukraine. We believe that running is a global sport, and as such, we must do what we can to show our support to the people of Ukraine. It's a measure Siegel has been calling for, his Change.org petition garnering more than 1,400 signatures in 2 days.
All the efforts that we're trying to do to, defend Ukrainians who can compete this year because they are left behind and are forced to stay to fight for their country are worth it.
There are 44 Ukrainian citizens registered for the marathon, and Siegel says the BAA's decision sends one message: support for the Ukraine.
This is all to support Ukraine as much as possible and to not normalize what is happening.
Now, 63 athletes in total will be removed from the marathon and the 5K. The BAA says they will work to provide a refund to those runners. Live in Boston, Zania Maldonado, WBZ News.
So I love how he said to not normalize what is happening. I hate to break it to you, but war crimes have been very much normalized, right? Like talk to anybody in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. No one batted an eye.
The U.S. citizens can't run in that because we're the biggest fucking
right
imperialists in the world.
Like you want to play that game? Like I'll never be able to run a race in my life. Like again.
And then they're like, running is a global sport. That's why we want to stand in solidarity with Ukraine. What? Russia's not on a globe? Like, what does that even mean?
Right.
God, these people.
And it's like, okay, these like, I just want to make this like 100% clear. This is not the Olympics in a sense of countries are not competing for points. This is 100% individual. If someone comes from Russia, right, who lives in Russia, they are running as themselves.
Right.
Like if they get a medal or their whatever their place is, their country is not getting the medal on their behalf. Like this is 100% individual.
Yeah, but they're probably named like Vladimir and shit, and like
right, and that's
they're gonna be like, we can't put that on the headline. Vladimir won the Boston Marathon.
Right. And I think the thing that really gets me too is that this is a private company, straight up discriminate. Like, I wouldn't be okay if this was like a city of Boston decision, right? I would also be, but the fact that it's not at all, no public official made this decision. This was a BAA that made this decision, somehow just rubs me in a very different way because it's straight up private discrimination. People who had no say in what Putin does, right? You know, like it's the same type of thing. If Trump, Biden, or Obama, right? Like Obama had the most bombs, right? We didn't ask for, like, Obama dropped the most bombs in his presidency ever, right? That is a record he set that no one fucking really knows because it was never talked about. But he dropped, like, I believe it was an average of every 20 minutes a bomb was dropped.
I think it was every 17 minutes.
For those 8 years, every 7 minutes for those 8 years, right? We didn't ask for him to do that. None of that was transparent. It's the same thing for those runners. They're not asking for any of this with Putin. Many people have actually protested against anything that Putin is doing, right? And that's not to say, I mean, yeah, we could go into the whole situation with Ukraine and the neo-Nazis they have, right? That's a whole other issue. The point is that they literally are blaming a war on people who happen to live in a country that is attacking another country. And if you can't see how that's problematic, I don't know, you really need to reevaluate, like, I don't know, think, use your brain.
Yeah. I mean, the devotion people have to one country is just absolutely sickening, because when you say you're with, I stand with, you're literally saying the country, meaning everyone in it, meaning you're totally cool with Nazis. Let's just be honest. It's not like there's one or two. There's like a whole bunch of them. And I don't understand, as a humanist, all I can keep thinking is, I don't stand with Ukraine or Russia. I stand with humanity.
Yeah.
I stand with every fucking person that is in pain right now because they're in hiding or they're losing loved ones or because they're scared. That's who I stand with, not some fucking arbitrary border.
Yeah. And, you know, Gretel just wrote a kind of what's next? The return of internment camps, right? Like this, and I think it's important to mention, like, this was the type of sentiment that was ingrained in people before the internment camps happened, right?
Absolutely.
And we always, you know, whenever we look back on the Japanese internment camps, right, that happened, that I think is an analogy that a lot of people make to what's happening now, right? We say, how did we get there? We should never do it again. Well, one step is to pay attention to how people were molded to accepting it and being bystanders of it happening in the first place. And so,
and you know what's really fucked up? George Takei, one of the king shit libs, he was in the internment camps. Literally. Him and his parents. Literally. And he is, I stand with Ukraine all the way. And he fucking lived it. It's truly astounding. It is absolutely astounding.
Yeah. So, that's what's happening.
You know what's even more fucked up than the race though? You're gonna take fucking Russian blue hair cats out of the fucking, pedigree.
They've been taking so many things remotely related to
like
Russian.
A fucking cat.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. Like, we're really at that point. Like, it's at that point where people are gonna be like, you need a barcode tattoo if you're Russian. It's, oh my god. I used to make jokes, because people would be like, you're a Russian bot, and I'd be like, my name is Svetlana Bobush, and I come from Russia to help Bernie Sanders win the election. And I used to do this bit on my show all the time, and now it's like I can't joke like that anymore because I'll get
Yep.
And the shit libs are just loving the fact that they've been so fucking anti, Russian and so xenophobic for 6 years. Whatever, Russian, you're Russian, Russia, and in this derogatory, pejorative way. And now they feel like they've been vindicated. See, I told you Russia was bad, and now we were right all along.
Right. Yeah, it's like sort of this weird reverse, almost self-fulfilling prophecy where you just sort of, yeah. Well, it's been a night. It's been a Friday night. Oh, man.
It's Friday night and I'll feel all right. Remember, what was the song we were singing? This is how we do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Our dance parties are epic. What you got going on, Andrew? What's coming up?
Yeah, so you can check me out in addition to this show that we do mostly on Mondays at 9:30, but due to the Assange awareness and protests, we did a special episode on Fridays. You can find me on here. You can find me on the People's Voice many Wednesdays on our panels. So People's Voice, we do have a stream coming up. It's going to be around 3 hours where we're going to be talking about the many aspects of cannabis and the legalization process and the war on drugs and many different aspects there. So definitely on April 20th, we're going to be doing a special stream on that.
April 20th. It's 420.
420. 420.
Word.
So that's what we got coming up for the People's Voice channel and on my end. But yeah, Joy, take it away.
So Monday we will be back, regular Postmortem Breakdown time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. I am going to DC Tuesday and Wednesday. I cannot say why. I will be posting about it after the fact. I am not doing anything illegal, but certain things you do not want to advertise just because it's better that it's not.
Keeping things on the down low in DC, what?
I know, dude, the feds are going to be like, what train are you taking? Where are you going? But it's nothing illegal at all. It's just something me and my comrades decided not to say anything about until after it happens. But yeah, I'll be in DC Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Friday, next Friday, I will be back with Amira for Chasing Shadows. We're going to be breaking down the suicide of Kurt Cobain. and like doing a deep dive investigation into what actually happened.
And
So,
Amira is
more
also
stuff coming up.
Yeah, and Amira is also a member of the People's Voice. So if you can tolerate what I'm saying and you like what Amira is saying, definitely come on over, like and subscribe to People's Voice. Oh, sorry, Joy. What was that?
Big news. So yesterday I launched a Substack. And I've already put up 2 articles. I wrote one yesterday, posted it. I wrote one today and posted it. So yes, check out Substack, Savage Joy Marie Mann. It's called The Blind Chicks Chronicles. And basically I just write whatever the fuck I want. Some's about trashing Biden, some's about healthcare, some's about I just write about the same kind of stuff I talk about, just stream of consciousness. But please support this. The reason why I started a Substack is because magazines and publications that I have read for years and interviewed people from and respected are not responding to my personal emails of my submissions, saying also with the caveat that, look, I am a disabled person and you do have a lack of disability representation on your writers, your staff, and things like that. And I'm, emailing people specifically who I know, who I've had on my show and stuff like that, Jacobin. And I'm getting no response, not even a, sorry, we're not looking for new writers. Like nothing. And to me, I'm sorry, that speaks volumes. If you're not willing to have a discussion why you have no disabled representation and why you are primarily a bunch of white dudes, then I need to really reconsider why I keep subscribing to you. Because so anyway, and they're not the only ones, but I've been getting no responses from anyone I'm submitting articles to, and I know I can fucking write. I wrote a fucking book. I've been published for years, many places, and I just got sick of not hearing back. And I'm like, is it because I'm being transparent that I am mostly blind, or is it just because they're, well, anyway, you could read my article from today if you want to see, how I break it down. But definitely please subscribe to my Substack. A lot of people are reading it and sharing it, but I need actual subscribers as well, because I'm going to try and use it as a platform. I love writing and I love doing this as well, but I like, I was an English major. I want to use my skills. So yes, please subscribe. Also, smash that like button on here, baby, and share and all that fun stuff. I have a Patreon. If you are so kind, you can subscribe for as little as $3 per month.
And we already have some conspiracy theories coming as to what you're doing in DC. So Redo says Joy will be in DC to meet up with the Russian villains to fight James Bond. That's a theory.
God. Andrew, you told them. You told them.
Sorry. I couldn't keep it to myself. It was, yeah.
I'm going to have somebody's love, baby. I'm going to go have a love child of like fucking Ron Paul or someone. I have no idea where that name came from, but yeah.
Yeah, especially like, I don't know, thinking of Ron Paul's age, but yeah. Okay, yeah, you do you. Anyway, well, this was fun. It's a good special episode. We'll be back on Monday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Have a good weekend, everyone. Take care.
And I'm at on Rockfin, I'm at almost 2,100 subscribers, and on YouTube, I'm at like 700.
No, you have I think like over 800 now. You broke 800 on YouTube. So, you know, it's
like
happening. It's very slow on YouTube because we know why, but yeah, it's happening.
So smash that subscribe button. But thank you all so much for watching. As usual, I love the comments. I read them every time we get off the air. And I love the energy you guys bring, and you guys are fucking awesome, and you make my day. So thank you so much. Thank you, Andrew. Love you. And we will see all you guys Monday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern.
See ya. See ya Monday night. Peace.
Much love.